Hello and welcome to Rise Unwind Raleigh. My name is Dan. You know, each and every week I try to talk to people from across the country about things you can do right here in your neighborhood. And on this week's show, I got this.
It actually showed that Gen Z and millennials are using AI. 60% of these groups actually feel pretty positive about using AI, as we would have guessed. But then when we look at if they're telling their managers or not, if they're using it, 50% of these groups actually feel a little bit nervous to disclose just how much they're using it.
Recognize the warning signs of heat stress and heat stroke, which is a life-threatening condition. So you're looking for things like excessive panting, drooling, lethargy, weakness, vomiting, diarrhea. If you start to see those things, you should change their environment. You should have fresh water available, cool them down, either in the air conditioning or on something like a cooling pad.
That's such a hard question to answer. I mean, when I was 19 and getting paid to run around on the beach, that was not a bad gig, you know?
So we do see a lot of the shorter sides for the boys, a little bit of length on top, depending on what they're going for. With the girls, of course, the longer length, some do shorter, but there's not really a whole lot of layers, or there's all of the layers. There really is no in between this year.
All of that and more right here on Rise Unwind.
Trying to stay on top of your family's health can feel like a never-ending list. Prescriptions, checkups, reminders. Luckily, there's an app for that. Today, we've got Kallie Branciforte, lifestyle expert and mom of four from That Practical Mom, here to share how the upgraded CVS Health app is helping parents stay on track without the stress. How are you today, Kallie?
I am doing good.
What makes the CVS Health app stand out compared to other apps in this space?
What I love about the CVS Health app is that it really acts as a go-to companion for my whole health, as well as helping me manage a lot of the healthcare tasks for my family. So the standout things for me is how it streamlines so many of the health to-dos in one place, whether it's prescription refills or it's, scheduling immunizations or it's picking up products from CVS.
Can you highlight a few features that really help families manage care on the go?
Yes. So one of my favorite features that I love to tell people about is the personalized barcodes. So when I refill a prescription for anybody in my family, it's going to generate a barcode inside of the app. So when I go in to pick it up, the pharmacist can just scan that barcode. My payment is included in it, and then I'm just on my way. This is such a time saver for me when I am like juggling 4 of my kids, or I'm going through the drive-through on the way to school pickup or whatever. I just find it to be such a nice convenience feature that really does save a lot of time. And another thing I really like in the enhanced app is it uses AI enhanced search. It just gets me to what I'm looking for a lot quicker and a lot faster. Whether it's giving me products, it's giving me services, or it also includes articles from Everyday Health. And, I'm not stuck weeding through tons of search results to get to what I'm looking for. And
as a parent juggling a lot, what would you say to someone who feels like they just can't keep up with all the health tasks?
Parenthood humbles you in a lot of ways, right? And I think that pretty much every aspect of parenthood has surprised me, and managing healthcare for a family of 6 is definitely on that list. My husband and I talk about how there is something to do at least every week. And if you can find a way to streamline those things, the fact that I'm not having to log into multiple accounts and then multiple accounts under those accounts because I have a family of 6, and I can have it all in one place. I can refill my prescriptions. I can get information on upcoming appointments and view lab results and do it all in one place. To me, it's such a nice convenience feature that, I'm not stuck having to juggle all of these different hats. And I know it can feel like we are juggling so many different hats in parenthood. So when you can find those things that do that for you, it's so handy.
And where can folks go to check out that app or download it?
Yep, you can go to cvs.com/app to learn more about the enhanced app.
Thanks, Kallie. We know summer can be brutal for us, but it's even harder on the animals in our lives. Whether they've got fur, feathers, or hooves, heat can quickly go from uncomfortable to dangerous. Joining us today with tips to help keep pets and livestock safe this summer are Dr. Kurt Venator from Purina and Marty Skoll-Jordan from Tractor Supply Company. How are you today, guys?
Terrific.
Great.
Hope you are too, trying to beat the heat.
Dr. Venator, what does extreme heat actually do to our pets and animals?
Well, I have 4 simple but important tips for those pet owners out there. The first is to provide access to fresh, clean water. Hydration is not only your friend, but it's also your pet's friend with high temperatures. And keeping them well hydrated will fend off complications like heat stress and heat stroke. The second tip is to provide access to shade and ventilation. So it's not just about keeping them out of the sun, but you'd like to have some nice airflow, which allows them to cool themselves down. The third tip is to avoid strenuous exercise or handling during the high midday temperatures from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. So if you're going to walk or run your dog or have your livestock out, ideally you'd like to do that early in the morning or early in the evening. And the last, and it's simple but it's important, is to recognize the warning signs of heat stress and heat stroke, which is a life-threatening condition. So you're looking for things like excessive panting, drooling, lethargy, weakness, vomiting, diarrhea. If you start to see those things, you should change their environment. You should have fresh water available, cool them down, either in the air conditioning or on something like a cooling pad. And by doing that, you should be good to go.
Should people think about changing their pet's food or water routine during the summer?
A great question. If you're feeding a high quality, complete and balanced diet, you do not need to switch their food during the high summer heat. That being said, we do know that our pets tend to eat less when the temperatures are very high. As a rule of thumb, when it comes to dogs, for every 10-degree increase in temperature over the milder spring and fall temperatures, dogs will eat about 7.5% less. So what we recommend is you start with the feeding instructions on the back of the bag and then change the amount of food based upon their ideal body condition. So what is that? Well, if Poppy were up, I'd have her in front of me here, but if you're standing above your dog and you're looking down, you want to see a nice hourglass shape. From the side profile, you'd like to see what we call an abdominal tuck between the abdomen and the hips. And then if you take your fingers and put it over their ribs, you should be able to feel their ribs. The ribs should not be covered with thick fat pads.
Marty, I know Tractor Supply works with a lot of animal owners. What are some must-haves to help animals beat the heat?
Oh, we've got some really great products in store. So first of all, if you look at Chick Cam with our feathered friends here, we've got some darling chicks that are for sale in store. Electrolytes, which really helps provide hydration and nutrients during those summer months. We've got a cooling mat on the floor. It's really wonderful. You can either put it over your dog's bed or just keep it as is over the summer months. Cool air really filters underneath it. It's got really great technology to keep your pet cool. Poppy the puppy is passed out, I think, because she was playing with the popsicle, and you can put treats in there, create your own frozen treats, and they work on that. We have almost like a teether that you have for your baby. You put it in the freezer, and they continue to work on that and keep cool.
And where can people go if they want more tips, tools, or just to learn about this Beat the Heat campaign?
Oh, come on in store between now and August 10th. It's Purina Days, or go online, tractorsupply.com/beattheheat.
Thanks so much for joining us, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Whether you're dealing with cranky kids or a crowded salon, back to school season can feel like a marathon. But one stop that doesn't have to be stressful, the haircut. Stylist Tonee Kukura from Great Clips joins us with ways to save time and keep your kids feeling confident. How are you today, Tonee?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Why do you think back to school season is such a stressful time for families?
I mean, just like you mentioned, we're trying to get the last bits of summer in. On top of that, our normal work schedules and shopping, whether that be for materials and supplies, shoes, clothes, and getting haircuts. Great Clips is here to make that transition a little bit more seamless for our parents this back to school season.
And how important is a good haircut in helping kids feel ready for the first day?
It's so incredibly important. At that age, through the middle and the high school years, peers' opinions really do matter. So if you start your kids out with a fresh cut for back to school, it's gonna up their confidence for the year.
What are some low maintenance cuts you're seeing a lot of this year?
So we do see a lot of the shorter sides for the boys, a little bit of length on top depending on what they're going for. With the girls, of course, the longer length, some do shorter, but there's not really a whole lot of layers, or there's all of the layers. There really is no in between this year, but we are seeing a lot of trends wrap back around.
Any advice for making salon visits easier, especially when time's tight?
Yes, check-in online. Great Clips offers our online check-in, whether that be on the website or on the app. This allows you to see how long the wait is ahead of you and check in before you ever have to walk in the door. So you can wait that 45 minutes or finish shopping and then walk in when you're ready with however many kids you need to.
Oh, I love that check-in feature. And where can families go to learn more about haircut inspiration, the Great Clips app, and this back-to-school officer contest?
Yeah, you could check out greatclips.com/back-to-school. This introduces you to our app if you're not familiar, gives you a lookbook for the trends this season, and that chief back-to-school officer, it's going to give you the rundown. Parents can nominate a kid that helped them through this chaotic crisis season, and they can win up to $10,000 for their education and free haircuts. So it's definitely worth the look.
Thanks so much, Tonee.
Thanks for having me.
All right, let's be real. Tech at work is moving a little faster than most of us could keep up with. And while Gen Z and millennials might be leading the charge with AI tools, many aren't exactly telling their boss. That's what a new survey says, and they're not explaining how much they're using these AI tools. Kelsea Warren is a workplace values expert and founder of the Seamless Coach. She's here to unpack what's going on, what it means for employee well-being, and how businesses can do better. Hey, Kelsea, glad to have you with us today.
Thanks for having me, Dan.
All right, let's start with the big picture. What stood out most in the survey?
Quite a few things. So with the Cox Business Survey, it actually showed that Gen Z and millennials are using quite a bit of tech tools to maintain their productivity. But specific to AI, 60% of these groups actually feel pretty positive about using AI, as we would have guessed. But then when we look at, as you mentioned, if they're telling their managers or not, if they're using it, this study from Cox Business actually says that 50% of these groups actually feel a little bit nervous to disclose just how much they're using it, especially as it relates to productivity. And then if you get a little bit deeper, because of all of these tech tools we're expected to know and use, about 2/3 of these groups actually feel overwhelmed by just the amount of tools that they're expected to use and learn on a day-to-day basis. And on top of that, 50% of these groups feel that they don't really have much influence in tech decisions at work. So this study has highlighted a few very important things, but most importantly, that there is a bit of a disconnect between business and IT leaders and Gen Z and millennials in the workplace when it comes to tech.
So why do you think younger employees are hesitant to talk to their bosses about using AI or other tech tools?
I think it comes down to policy and communication. So the survey from Cox Business showed that many Gen Z and millennials actually don't know what their company policy is on tech use and AI, or if they even have one at all. So something to think about here is rolling out clear and transparent policy if you don't already have that, if you are a business leader, and making sure that we are including this younger generation in the tech decision-making process. So if you are looking at adding new tech tools, updating any kind of legacy software, or even refining your policy, making sure that you are including the people that are using it every day is going to be better for you. And it's also going to improve engagement and outcomes with this group of Gen Z and millennials as well.
I guess what the bosses don't know can't hurt them, right? But how are the IT teams managing the pressure of this constant tech update, and what's keeping them up at night?
Yeah, to that point, I think this study from Cox Business also showed that 60% of Gen Z and millennials are actually using their personal software or devices to get work done. And then on top of that, 50% of them say that it's actually easier and faster to use their personal devices. So this is called shadow IT, and it's actually creating a little bit of a challenge for IT teams specifically and business leaders, because without being able to manage how and when these devices are being used, they aren't able to protect or prevent any kind of outages or issues that may arise. One thing that I would definitely recommend, again, is rolling out policy that is clear around AI and tech use. But even more importantly, I think partnering with managed IT service providers like Cox Business, like RapidScale, they are the experts, and they are going to come alongside IT teams and help predict and prevent any potential outages and help them manage issues like shadow IT.
And burnout is real. What are your go-to strategies for helping teams avoid that tech overload?
When we think just about the volume of tech and the burnout and stress associated that with, we want to think about future proofing the business. So this not only it deals with the amount of tech tools, but it also looks at making sure the right people are in the right roles that are in charge of managing this tech, and then looking to the next generation of leaders as well. So keeping them in the conversation, not just in the decision-making process, as I mentioned, but also ongoing, making sure that we are including them every step of the way. And if you are in this group, a Gen Z or millennial like I am, please feel encouraged to reach out to your leaders, let them know how you're feeling about tech and that you are interested in it and that you're engaged in the process. This is going to help you not only advocate for yourself better, but also just position yourself as a leader and build more trust in the organization.
All right, and finally, if somebody wants to read more about the survey, where should they go?
If you want to learn more about Cox Business's survey, go to coxblue.com/workplace tech survey.
Kelsea Warren, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Do you remember Tic-Tac-Dough? Well, it's back. And this time there's a twist and a dragon. The classic game show has been reimagined for a new generation with Emmy-nominated host Brooke Burns leading the charge. You know her from The Chase, Masterminds, Dog Eat Dog, and yeah, she also survived Baywatch. Brooke's here to tell you how, what's new with this nostalgic and what's new, and what's it like dodging dragons in prime time. Welcome to the show, Brooke. How are you, my friend?
Thank you so much. I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. I am always dodging a beast or a dragon or something. How do I get myself into these situations, right? Yes, I survived the cold waters of Baywatch as well. I'm a survivor. What can I say?
You got this. You got this. All right. Tic-Tac-Dough. Yeah. It's new. It's with a dragon. Where did this idea come from?
So obviously, game shows seem to have this sort of timeless appeal. And I think Tic-Tac-Dough is the same way. It's been around for so many decades, on air, off air. Obviously, Chuck Berry hosted it, Wink Martindale, who we recently lost. And so when GSN came to me and said, we're going to be doing a reboot of this, playing tic-tac-toe as a child was so much fun. It's the first game that you ever learn. And then adding the trivia element, I feel very comfortable with. And then the adorable little virtual dragon, who is not as frightening as Beastie, was also part of the appeal. I just think it's like every game show that you can come and you can watch and you can either just check out and enjoy and be entertained, or you can play along. And it doesn't matter if you're with your grandma or your kids or whatever. And it was just fun. I just really wanted to come on and have something to offer people again, where you can just come and enjoy yourself and, have your community around you. And it starts that conversation. And of course, if you're competitive, maybe a little bit of that fun, jabbing competitiveness that you can play with your family.
I was just showing my producer here photos of me and Wink Martindale from 2013. I did some promos with him.
Can I see one?
I'm dressed up. I'll show him now. I'm dressed up like a bellhop. Me and Wink are hanging out on set. So we did some promos together for real. So it was cool working with him. Amazing. Did you ever get to meet him or work with him in the past? Or?
I did. He actually came to the set of The Chase, and I was so excited and honored that he came. And when he came out on stage and we were hanging out and speaking and stuff, I just really, when he has that true essence, that true authenticity, where you're like, of course he's a game show. He's like everybody's best friend. You just feel like you could reach through the TV and you knew him, like you could have him over to your house and have a cup of coffee. That's exactly how he is. And he was just so gracious, kind. And I only wish that somebody could have said right then, hey, Wink, she's going to be hosting Tic-Tac-Dough in 10 years. And then us had that moment to share together.
I would say that you have some big shoes to fill because it is Wink Martindale, but I've seen your work. You're amazing. You do really good stuff. You're very funny. You're charming. Yeah, you bring to the table a lot of good hosting skills. So I'm not just trying to say you got big shoes to fill. I think they found the right person to fill those shoes automatically.
So much. I am going to try and honor him with this.
So how does hosting this compare to some of the other stuff that you have done in the past?
Good question. They're all a little bit different in their own way, but this one was really, I think, a more intimate set for me, just because there's only 2 contestants. So I love people, and I feel like I got to spend a little more time with the contestants, which I really enjoyed. And not so much pressure. The Beastie's not breathing down my neck. The speed rounds are not really about me being perfect and fast, more about can they, get away from the dragon. So I just really enjoyed myself. I kind of felt like I could let my hair down on this one a little bit. And I think it shows.
And you've had a pretty cool career, like from acting to hosting. And what's your favorite gig? Does anything come to light, or does this top the list, I guess?
That's such a hard question to answer. I mean, when I was 19 and getting paid to run around on the beach, that was not a bad gig, I get paid to do that. So I love those days. Hosting my very first show, Dog Eat Dog, was a real joy of mine, just because I love competition. And I think that's where I fell in love with game and reality and hosting in and of itself. And so that leading, to all of these other shows, I'm obviously incredibly proud of The Chase. Working with Beastie and getting nominated for an Emmy for that was pretty exciting. I brought my mom and dad out to come to the Emmys with me. And so, I think it's just all of them really, because I think if I asked my 10-year-old self, I thought I was going to be a ballet teacher and have 6 kids and never leave Texas. So I just love what I get to do. And especially now, if I'm flying on an airplane and somebody asks me, like, what do you do for a living? There's no better answer than I'm a game show host. People can't believe it. They're like, is that a joke? I'm like, no, it's for real.
How good are you at trivia? Have you absorbed any of this, or is it?
Oh my gosh, I thought you were asking like if I would ask those people. Yes, I ask people trivia all day in my everyday life. No, I'm not great at trivia. I feel like under pressure, I totally panic. And if somebody asked me my daughter's middle name, that I would be like, oh, buzzer.
I'm in the same boat. I can't come up with names. I can't come up with words, but I'm great at trivia because all of a sudden my brain will find it. But there are those moments that I know exactly what I'm talking about and I just can't find the words. But all right.
I've had those few moments where something pops into my head and Beastie doesn't know it, then I feel really good about myself.
When you battle the Beastie and win, I love it. That's a bar to beat. All right, you can check out Tic-Tac-Dough. It's weeknights at 7 on Game Show Network. Brooke Burns, thanks for hanging out with me.
Thank you so much.
So you probably remember the Thundermans. It's that family of super siblings trying to live that normal life. But they're back with a brand new spin-off called The Thundermans Undercover, where Phoebe, Max, and Chloe tackle fresh missions and new challenges. So joining me now are the stars themselves. We have Kira Kosarin, Jack Griffo, and Maya Lee Clark. Welcome, everyone. All right, let's start with the basics. What's Thundermans Undercover all about?
The Thundermans Undercover follows Max and Phoebe as the Hero League sends them on an extended undercover mission in a beach town called Secret Shores. They bring Chloe along for the ride, both for training and to help them with the mission to take down the mastermind, and also just so that Chloe can experience what it's like to live a normal life undercover rather than being a famous superhero. And it feels a lot like the original Thundermans series, but with some new, exciting, fresh stuff.
So what was it like coming back for the spin-off series?
I think we were all really excited about it after doing the movie after so many years and seeing that chemistry really was still there. And it was just fun. It was just so much fun. I mean, me and Kira had the best time growing up on this show. And so to come back and get to play the characters again in a whole new way with new stories, 26 new episodes. I mean, we're just so incredibly lucky. And with this sort of new spin on it, we sort of come in these more mature parental roles for Chloe. We're kind of taking care of her on this new superhero undercover mission, like Kira said. But really, we want to give Chloe a more normal life, kind of like what our parents did for Phoebe and Max for us when we were kids, when we moved away from Metroburg to Hiddenville, kind of following suit and doing that again for Chloe, because we see a certain pattern that's similar to Phoebe and Max's upbringing as well.
So how do your characters grow and change in these new episodes?
With Chloe, I actually got to develop her character this season, which was fun because I used to be just a 3-year-old kind of saying lines, and now I get to really show off my acting skills. And I'd say she developed a lot of independence and sassiness. She's been very sassy, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Phoebe and Max are always Phoebe and Max at their core. But you know, as we've grown as people and as actors, each time we come to the characters, obviously you have more life experience and more to bring to the character. And obviously Phoebe and Max are in a totally new paradigm. They're basically raising a 13-year-old. They're also working jobs at Chloe's school. And so it's fun to get to see Phoebe and Max in that new position. They have, you know, some new style, some new wardrobe, some new energy. But at the end of the day, they're very much still Phoebe and Max, you know, all of the things that make them them, you know. Max is always fighting with his desire for fame and to be a good superhero. Phoebe is always fighting with her inability to somehow not make things worse, even though all she wants to do is be a good superhero and do great at her job. You know, she makes a lot of puns. Max hates them. It's the old days, you know?
Yeah, I would echo all of that as far as kind of what I was saying earlier about becoming sort of these guardians for Chloe. But you know, also I see how we grown. I mean, I think in the original series, for example, you know, Max was all about being a supervillain, and he grew a lot in that original series because he learned that, you know, that the good always wins and good prevails, and he ends up being a superhero, you know, like his family always taught him that he should be. And kind of like Kira touched on a second ago, now, you know, in the movie and even in the series, it's not about being his thing isn't being a supervillain anymore, but his thing is like this like fame of being a superhero and kind of getting caught up in all that and wanting to be a hero really for the wrong reasons. And so I think over the course of this season, you know, we showed a little bit of it in the movie, how Max sort of developed and his heart grew a couple of sizes and realized that it wasn't all about the glitz and the glam of being a superhero. And we kind of expand on that in the series, obviously. You know, we only had a short time amount to do it in the movie, and we really expand on that, like I said, in the series. And he gets to be, like Kira said, our undercover job at Chloe's school, and you know, find out what's important again. You know, I think Max is someone that is impressionable and kind of gets caught up in perception and as we all can. And so I think the overlying thing for my character is just what's important, cut the fat, what do we really care about, and at the end of the day, it's really each other and our family.
What do you think fans could look forward to the most?
Probably
I think lots of fun and lots of laughs.
Yeah, a lot of guest stars from the original series, a lot of action. Jack throws a couple backflips. He makes a
I think it's nostalgic, yet new and contemporary. I think the fans who have watched our show are going to love it because they watched our show, and I think the fans that haven't watched it are going to love it because it's new and it's exciting. And you know, we have a lot of the same showrunners, all three, as the original show. So we had all that success on the original show. Kind of they're carrying over, you know, all their amazing tools and talents to this new show. And I think every episode is great. And as the episodes continue to come out on Wednesday nights, I think fans are going to see us really hit a stride about mid-season of this first season. So I'm excited to watch the series come out along with the rest of the world. So, yeah.
Thank you, guys. Be sure to catch Thundermans Undercover, airing weekly on Wednesdays on Nickelodeon and streaming on Paramount+. Thank you so much for joining me, Kira, Jack, and Maya. And that's it for Rise Unwind Raleigh. If you want to be on the show, go to our website, riseunwindtv.com, fill out the form, send it on in. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Rise Unwind. And until next week, that was Rise and Unwind.